the last part of our Module 1 Part A, Overview and Concepts. In this part, 8.4, we will look at the overview of Java Web Applications. Our first view of Java Web Applications. All right. Let's try to understand the basics of Java Web Applications. First, some properties of Java Web Applications. All right. First, the general meaning of a web application. It is just an application, we know software application, running in the server. This is a special software application running in a server that is accessed via web browser. So usually we use web browser over a network, internet. Let's say, more specifically, over the internet. Because most of the time this network refers to internet, although it could be local private network or some intranet. There are several other cases, but in this class we assume our default network is the internet. All right. Next property. So the main purpose of Java Web Applications, based on the designer, this technology, Java EE. Remember, I mentioned that Java EE technology. So here we are talking about the Java EE technology. So the designers of the Java EE technology, they try to set these properties for Java Web Applications. All right. Organization, portability, and separation in their design. So let me explain one by one. The first one, organizations. We need to organize the resources inside a Java Web Application. But what do you mean the resources? So something useful. So typically, we talk about the files inside a Java Web Applications. Because we expect all the files inside a Java Web Applications are useful. So we put there. All right, so here, but we use the general term, resources. All right, organize, those files. You cannot randomly arrange those files, right? So here, for Java EE technology, some of the files have special significance. So they should be placed in some specific locations. So those things, those requirements are written inside the specification. So we need to follow that. All right. Because the main reason those files have to be placed in the specific locations, because in that way, the server can find them and the server can configure them easily. Otherwise, if you put the wrong location, because the server, the specification tells the server only go that particular location to load certain files and then do some processing. So you have to follow that. So that's what we are talking about, the organization. So here, I may like to compare it with some other web applications. I like to compare with PHP web applications. if some of you have experience developing PHP web applications, you know inside PHP, you have your freedom to place your files anywhere, right? So usually there is no specific location for some special files, usually, right? So you just organize in the directories, subdirectories, tree structure. Then you have the responsibility to load those files in your programs. But in our Java EE technology, we do things slightly different. The main reason is Java EE technology is more advanced than PHP web applications. The more advanced means it can have many advanced features, especially for enterprise level. Many enterprise level features, advanced features. In order to run those special advanced features, special configurations are needed. So that's why its structure a little more complicated. All right, so the first property, organization. Yeah. And all right, regarding the organization, there is a special configuration file. It is an XML file. In our next slide, we will see that. This file is required by the Java EE specification. And you need to, when you have some special resources, you need to write XML configuration. Okay? XML configuration. Okay? Yeah. You use XML style to configure your resources. Yeah. So we will see that later in our examples. Yeah. All right. Next one, portability. Portable, make your Java web applications portable. So that means one Java web application, if you configured in one Java server, you can easily copy, drop, deploy in another Java web server. That's its meaning. Okay? That's the designer's goal. One of the goals, portability. But in reality, things are slightly different. There is some complexity you need to consider. Because when you talk about Java servers, okay, there are many Java servers on the market. Many. So here I do not list them. There are many Java servers on the market. All right. So when you do this portable transmission from one server to another, there are two cases. One, your Java server of the same type. Another different type. Okay. So when you transfer a Java web application from the same type Java servers, okay, then the portability has no problem. Yeah. Same type, Tomcat, for example, yeah, definitely. Yeah. But for different types, then things could be more complicated. Yeah. The portability may not be 100%. Yeah, may not be 100%. Yeah. So the good thing is you may need to follow the deployment procedure. Yeah. Deployment procedure, because some relatively advanced servers, they require go through step by step in the deployment procedure. You need to go through that. Then you can guarantee your web application is deployed correctly in that server. Yeah. So that's why here, our understanding, so we know it is not that 100% portable. Yeah, a lot of things you need to do. Yeah. Next property, separation. Yeah. The meaning of this property means two Java web applications in the same server. You deploy two Java web applications in the same server. They are treated as completely separated on their resources. Resources, we know the files inside those two Java web applications. What's the meaning completely separated? All right, so that means you cannot access one resource inside the one Java web application from another Java web application directly. Okay, directly, internally, or I should say, yeah, because what's the meaning of directly, right? Yeah, internally. Okay, internally, yeah. Because think about these two applications are on the same machine. Usually we may feel, yeah, so we can just, go to that directory, get the resource, right? Internally. Yeah. You are not allowed to do that. Okay? The reason is for better protection. Yeah. In other words, those two Java web applications, although they are deployed on the same server, but they are treated like deployed on different servers. That's the separation meaning, completely separated. Yeah. Two web applications on different web servers. Although you can access each other, but you have to use external way to access. So that's why I use internal, external. External way to access. What's the external way? Through URLs. That's the external ways. You access that web resource of that web application just like outside users access them. No, that's fine. Outside users access them. Then the rules applied on outside users completely different for the internal access, because the security restrictions will be different. For outside users, very strict rules are applied regarding the security. But for internal access, so you have more, privilege. Yeah, you have more privilege to access certain files. Yeah. Regarding this topic, later we will have more discussion. Internal, external accesses. Yeah. After we learn some more examples, so we can understand this topic much better. Yeah. All right. Next, our first Java web application. Yeah. At this point, I just describe a little bit our first Java web application, because at this point, I'm not ready to run it. I have not posted tutorials to install software. Yeah. After I post my installation tutorials, so then you install all the software we need for this class, then we are ready to run our first Java web application. Okay? Then I can just record a 5-something minutes short video to show you from beginning to end, running this first Java web application hello world. Yeah, very easy, yeah. But you need to do some preparation. You need to have some basic structure of a Java web application. Yeah. So in this one, it contains the minimum number of files. Yeah. The configuration file, your Java source file, the structure, location, specific folder, arrangement. Yeah. Then, after that, you are ready, so you can start the server and run that web application. You see the result, hello world. That's the short description of that first example. All right, yeah. We see that later. Yeah. Next topic, I want to show you structure of Java web applications. Yeah. Yeah. You can see this is the basic structure. Yeah. This kind of tree structure. Okay. There is a root. Okay. Under the root, we have several items. Some items are files, some items are directories. Yeah. You can also see these item names right here. These item names you see here, the names are in specific names. Yeah. So not inside parentheses. Inside parentheses, that means the names could change. Yeah. You can change the names when you develop your own web application, but these names you cannot change. These names, without parentheses, you have to use the same names following the Java EE specification. Okay, all right. So let me explain these items one by one. The first one, the root. For your web application, you need to start somewhere. So we make a root directory. So it is just a regular directory. You create a folder and you put everything of your web application inside that folder. Yeah. So that's the root of our web application. Sometimes we refer it to this context root. Context root. Yeah, that's the root, our context root. All right. Yeah. Second one, welcome file. Yeah, this is another basic element in a Java web application. Welcome file. Yeah. From the name you can see, welcome to the, show welcome message to your users. Yeah. The first file you will see when you visit the web application. Yeah. After you deploy your web application, your users will visit your web application. The first page, you show them welcome file. Yeah. So when your users visit this welcome file, they do not need to specify the file name. They just leave it blank. Okay. For example, so here, let me give you a simple example. Let's say www.yahoo, for example, .com. Right? When you type that, you do not need to type / the file name, because nobody can memorize what should be the right file name after it. Nobody knows that. Okay, so you don't type anything, you just hit enter. Then the server knows which file to load. The server will load its welcome file. So inside the server, there is a welcome file, is configured, yeah, there. Yeah. How to configure, so we will look at that issue later. Yeah. You can configure your welcome file. Yeah. So then the server knows it, so then the server just sends that welcome file to the users directly. Yeah. For some of you, if you have the PHP programming experience, you have this idea. Because in PHP, there is a default welcome file, index.php. Okay? That's the default, index.php. So by default, the welcome file is always set this one. And usually people do not change, just to use it. Yeah. So you can put all the information you want your users to see in this file on the first page. Then the remaining pages, the users will use the hyperlinks to access. Yeah. All right. That's the concept. But for different servers, the welcome file usually different. Yeah. For example, for the Microsoft.NET technology, so the default welcome page, they use the default. So they call their welcome file default.asp. Okay? Things like that. Yeah. So different servers will set their welcome files in different names. Okay? All right. Next item, WebINF. This is the most important folder inside a Java web application, WebINF. Yeah. All right. It is a subdirectory that contains some important resources. What kind of resources? Yeah, we will see that soon. So here you can see these 3 resources are listed. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, based on the specification also. Yeah. And there is an important property for this one. Yeah. Resources inside this folder are protected. What do you mean protected? The users cannot access them directly. What do you mean directly? All right. Directly, what I mean, you access the resource inside this folder through URLs. Yeah, URLs. So in a web browser, you type URL, domain name / context root name / right, web-inf / resource name, then the server does not allow you to access, because the resources inside this folder supposed to be very important, in a very high protection level, so outside people cannot access them directly. Yeah. Only internal accesses are allowed. So here I talk about that internal access. Yeah. Yeah. So later in our specific examples, we will see the internal access way. Yeah. Yeah. So that's important property. Yeah. So you can see you can use this property if you want some important data protected. Your users only past permission check can access them. Then this place is good one. You can place those files. Yeah. All right. Yeah. another page explain remaining items. The first one, this web.xml. This is our configuration file. Yeah. You have to use this file name. It is in XML format. Okay, yeah. The XML, I hope you have a little knowledge about XML. Yeah. Otherwise, I may give you some background knowledge related to XML. Yeah. I may find some basic rules for XML files. Yeah. Later. Yeah. So in this special file, you can configure certain special resources. So for example, servlets. We will learn servlets soon. Okay? Servlets. Yeah. We will learn servlets soon. Yeah. When you develop servlets, you need to configure inside this file. You know, directly, indirectly. So there are two ways: direct way, explicit way. So you write a paragraph, you know, do the mapping, you know. Indirectly, so you do not do anything inside this file, web.xml. You just do your configuration in your servlet source file, Java servlet. Yeah. Our next module, we will learn Java servlet technology. Okay? You just put your configuration information in your Java servlets. Then those information can be transferred to web.xml, this one, by the server. You do not need to do that by the server, so indirectly. Yeah. So that's for this file. Classes, lowercase classes folder. Yeah. This one, from the name, you can see it contains all the compiled Java class files. All your Java source code must be compiled before you deploy into the Java server. Yeah. After you compile, you need to copy paste inside this folder. Then the JVM can load these Java files automatically. So you do not need to do anything. The JVM just loads everything inside this folder. Yeah. Next one, lowercase lib folder, L-I-B, lib folder. So from the name, you can see it contains all the Java library files. The format of the library jar file. Okay? Yeah, so something dot jar, J-A-R. Okay? Yeah, jar file. Okay. And the library jar files you put in this folder can also be loaded into the JVM automatically. So the server can use them when they need. Yeah. When the server needs to use, yeah, just get from JVM. So load it. Yeah. All right. This folder, because we have this folder inside our web application, so it provides the convenience when we use third-party technologies. So that's a very nice extension support for Java technology. Yeah. Because when we do data processing, we may need some special programs from the third-party companies. Yeah. So we get those special library files. We just copy paste in this folder Then in our Java program, we import some of the classes we need, based on the API. We just write our code and use those classes. So very convenient. All right. Meta-inf, another folder. So this folder is optional. So usually we do not need it. We rarely need it. Only when we need to configure some special resource, we use it. Otherwise, you put there, do not use it, no problem. It configures some special resources. What kind of special resources? Here, I just give you one example. The example is when you need to configure database connection pool. Here, you may not know what's the meaning, database connection pool. This is some advanced technology related to database efficiency. When you use your database resource, you want the way to manage the resource very efficient. But to manage the resource efficiently, it is not easy. Some very sophisticated work should be done. That, that whole package to manage the resource, that's the connection pool technology. So later, we will learn that. After we learn the Java database JDBC technology, then we will have chance to learn this connection pool technology. Then we need to use this web-inf. Otherwise, other than that, for this whole class, we don't need to use this folder. All right. Remaining part, your files and directories. Remaining part. Here you have your freedom to arrange the folders, files. You have the freedom to do specific things in your web applications. Other parts you need to follow. Other parts you need to follow the Java EE specification. But you still, this part, you have your freedom to arrange your resources. Then after that, so the whole thing, you deploy it into the Java web server, you can run it. What do you mean deploy here? So here, let me explain the deployment. In the Tomcat, here, when we use Tomcat, when we talk about deployment, that's very simple. So simple. Inside Tomcat, you can find a special folder called Web Apps folder. Web App, APPS. You can find Web Apps folder. All right. You just drop your context root. Context root, you have a folder, right? You drop it inside this Web Apps folder. Okay. That's it. Then you start Tomcat server, run it. Then you type URL, you can access your web application. So we will see that. That's the deployment in Tomcat. For some other servers, could be slightly different. Some servers you need to, doing a lot of steps to deploy a web application. All right, so that's our part 8.4, and we complete part A. So our next part, part B, I will start on Monday's class. Part B. All right. Yeah.